Hello everyone, and welcome to yet another Waystone Games live stream. This is Friday at 11 a.m. PDT. I was told it's PDT now, not PST. I screwed up the other day. I'm such a failure.
Who pays attention to that?
Exactly. Who
PDT sounds really weird.
It does. PST just rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, it does.
It's perfect.
PDT.
So if the seasons could never change again, it would be fantastic. Let's just stay in PST
Right.
forever. But welcome. I am Brad Pluto Ramey, Assistant Community Manager here at Waystone Games, joined by our lead shaper designer, Dan Dibs Gibson.
Hi.
And we're very excited for this stream today because we're going to be announcing a brand new shaper. A brand new shaper.
We are.
You guys have no idea.
Yes.
You saw his lore yesterday. If you haven't read it yet and you can multitask really well, go read it while we're talking, and it'll be really awesome to you. It's called Stranger. You can find it on the forums. You can find it on the website. And you can see that sweet teaser image that Kevin Gasato Lee did. Oh, so good. So good.
His teaser image is... That's
that
the
vitality of conviction.
So good, though.
But we're super excited to reveal this today. I am actually super excited personally because... as Gasty kind of revealed on Money Pigs, it is an 80 carry.
Right.
I love playing 80 carries, and I will say, I'm just going to tease it super hard right now, it is my favorite. I love it.
I think, and I was thinking about this for Mina, but I think Kensu is probably the most anticipated shaper release internally we've ever had. People are just like...
losing their shit over
Yes!
it. They are super excited.
When he comes out, I'm just going to dumpster fools all day.
Yeah,
right? It's like so excited.
One of our DDs walked over, Eric, and he was like, is it revealed at 11?
Right.
I was like, yeah, and he was like, hype. And I was like, yeah, we're super excited. So, again, let's get through the formalities first of just letting you guys know what's going on today. From 11 to 12, we're doing the shaper reveal. 12 p.m., Luke Harrington, our art director, will be taking over for the Friday art live stream. He'll be drawing and doodling some awesome stuff for you guys.
Right.
And then he will go however long he really wants to. Technically, those art streams are scheduled from 12 to 2, but they have been so... They've been so happy to do it for longer, like Pat and Will Corner, that they've just been like, "Can I keep going?" And
Right.
we're like,
the Luke one's
sure.
going to be super fun, I think.
Yeah,
I'm really excited for that.
And then at 5:30, we're going to have the Waystone versus the World live stream. So that is going to be an internal team of 5 developers, which is going to include, I believe this team is Sam, Andrew Beaudry, Andrea,
Scythe and
Ryan
Caleb.
Scythe and Caleb Epps. It's going to be a great team versus the Shapers Guild.
Right.
And they actually, the gauntlet was thrown by Gararwar of the Shapers Guild saying, do you even lore Waystone Games? So we have given them no bans, and you have to run lore lanes.
Right.
So, for example, Nisa Dibs, great lane, super powerful, just kind of empirically, but it is a lore lane, so it works.
Right.
Zalgus, Reyna together. You could do crazy and say maybe like Desecrator Makella. They have some history.
Yep.
They have some lore. Kill any slaves lately.
We all got together yesterday. We're just like, okay, who can we run? Who can we run? But there's like some lore combos that like aren't released yet. And we were like, let's do this and this. And I was like, oh no, wait, the players don't know about that.
Oh,
secret.
The hype is real. And if you guys didn't also see, it is Friday, so another page of the Dawngate Chronicles was released. It is fantastic. It is Zeri. I love her little Starlight, Starbright. What the heck's that big blue light?
Right.
Beautiful page. The colors are amazing.
This is the last page before we do a big 180.
If the past week has been lighthearted and fun, next week will be the opposite. It'll be heavy-hearted and not fun.
I'm excited, though. It's going to be delightful.
Get your calendars marked for Monday. It's going to be awesome. But we're here to talk about, for the next hour, a brand new shaper coming to the Dawngate, whose vitality is conviction. This shaper has been in development for a while, and you actually spoke about him before when you were talking about other shapers, because he was part of this group of 5 that we refer to as the Misfits.
Right.
Who, aside from being a band, who are the Misfits?
Right. So we had this group of 5 that we had made forever ago. So the first time that we ever released a shaper from the 5 was Viana. So this is like pre-December. I think we did this like early December, maybe late December was Viana's release. And we said that we had this group of 5 that we had always talked about, and the 5 included Viana, Ferris, Mara, and Kagan. And internally we called them the Misfits, although I don't think we've mentioned that on stream yet, because they were so different, each very different. One of the main goals for it was we wanted to diversify the very human cast of Dawngate. So we had all these things, all these different characters, and they all kind of were based off of one word. So for Viana it was Blood Mage, for Ferris it was Golem, and the one word that we had for Kensu, if you read the reveals, that his name is Kensu, was Savage. We both went for air quotes.
Yeah, Savage.
Savage. So Savage was the word that we went off of, although it wasn't really the character we wanted. What we wanted was the visual appeal of a savage character. And what we really meant by that was that we wanted kind of a beast man. would be kind of the D&D term for that. But we wanted something that was very non-human, almost like Salus, but a little bit more feral, perhaps. So that was what we kind of started with. We additionally had a very, very early gameplay concept that revolved around a very specific basic attack cadence and gameplay, like very, very specific and very unique. So we said, okay, we want this guy, they want this savage, we want this beast man, and we also wanted to have a very unique cadence that we thought would best be suited by a bow. So we just took that and we said, and then of course we bring it to Kindra. We lay it. We say, Kindra, go
make feral bowman.
Feral bowman. She was like, yes, incredible. So that was the ask from design, and we delivered very beautifully. So I feel like we should go to the image? Go to the render.
All right, guys. So without further ado, we're super happy to reveal to you guys the first look at Kinsu, the Mistwalker.
Boom.
What I hunt would turn your bowels to water.
So good. Of course, that voice was given to us by the wonderful Adam Harrington, who also voiced Kagan. And it's great because, like, if you read the lore and, you know, when you hear the VO, the juxtaposition that we were going for is the savage, feral, predatory look, but like he is very well spoken and like eloquent.
Like reading his lore yesterday, you can tell that he's just kind of like above everyone else. Humans to him are like the savages. He's just like, what are these little men doing, right? And then it's just shooting ghosts.
Yeah, I love in the lore he's described. He's so tall that the tallest human, like in the city, comes up to like his chest, and he's just like towering above them.
Right. So he's super, super, super cool. The render there is incredible, based on the model by Kevin and the concept by Kindra. Just really, really, really gorgeous. So how about we go through the kind of process?
Alrighty, let me get rid of this.
So we're going to switch over to our concept. So this is the very first thing that we got back from Kindra. As you guys know, every time I talk about a Kindra shaper, she always has this page, which is like my favorite page, which is
the shotgun approach.
Right, the shotgun approach. Yeah. And she does it so well. We asked her, you know, savage, bow, and that's it. And this was kind of the first page that she came back with.
Savage, beastly, I think.
Right.
You know,
so a lot of beast men here, a lot of different kinds of animals, and a lot of different kinds of stances. Additionally, you'll see that we have centaur characters. We have a character who has no legs and is you know, got a snake body, but they all have a bow, and there's kind of similar themes around each of them. So we took this kind of initial concept and we started to dive a little bit deeper on a few of them. So we have that in the next. Can I just use
and if you want to zoom in or anything, you can do so as well.
I'll zoom in on some of this. I think this was one of the ones that we kind of focused on a lot, especially this upper body. We really liked this kind of cat-like upper body that you kind of have seen in the final art. Additionally, this stance right here was really strong to us. Really big upper body, and then kind of, you know, he's got those opposable legs, those like backwards legs that were really neat too. So we dove deeper on a few of these, so you can see here's more
explorations.
Explorations. Again, this is coming further and further along what Kensu eventually ended up being. And same thing here. We have that same kind of stancing, same kind of body build. And then
it's interesting to see that the one on the far left kind of is the closest one, but like he all of a sudden went from centaur to non-centaur.
Right.
What was the process there?
So I think it was a few decisions from animation. I can't remember exactly how it went because it was a long time ago now. But there were goals for eventually having a four-legged character sometime in the future. But we decided to go with the more upright two-legged character.
Okay.
Yep. I think that there was. I'm not entirely sure at this point. I can't remember. It was like 5 months ago.
Yeah, it's been a while.
So the final concept here is the Kensu that we know and love today.
Yeah.
So this is, I think, probably the most gorgeously rendered concept in the entire game.
Yeah, there's just so many knickknacks and trinkets.
Super cool knickknacks, like all kinds of cool stuff all over him, and he's just like super, super, super cool looking.
Yeah.
The bow is really badass. He's got all this badass
It's this like ivory bow.
Right.
It's super cool.
It's super cool. So this is absolutely one of my favorite concepts that we've ever done, and I think Kindra really liked it a lot. She poured a lot of her heart into this, and it ended up being, I mean, one of the coolest looking models in the entire game as well.
Yeah.
So we can go back to the render. I think we'll end up hearing him again, or is that not true? No.
No.
Okay, cool.
We can if we want to. No, we'll hear it in game.
Right.
It'll be perfect.
Okay, so.
But you know, okay, so we have bow, we have Catman, you know, we have nimble predator, hunter, archer kind of thing.
Right.
What kind of niche is this supposed to fill as far as AD carries are concerned?
So the first thing I want to preface is this is Gasty's design. So Gasty designed this shaper as I think many of you said in chat. We're like, wait, Dibs is revealing a Gasty shaper. Gasty's out with Doctor right now, so I'm revealing it for him instead.
Feel better, Gasty, by the way.
Feel better. So I'll be revealing this for him. But he designed the kit completely. So we're going to kind of talk over some of his own goals for the character. So specifically, Gasty wanted a character that filled a very particular role as a ranged carry. Some of our characters do that, some of them don't. So if you've played a lot of Nisa or you've played a lot of Vex, those are characters that very specifically fill roles as ranged carries. Nisa's really good in the early game. She has a lot of ability burst with her Q, and particularly right when she hits 6. Like, her ability to burst someone is completely unparalleled as far as our other ranged carry shapers are concerned. And Vex is the late game carry. He's a little bit, weaker in the beginning. He's a little bit less safe in the beginning, but his late game is like just unbelievably better. If you can make it to late game and you're like, are decently on par with other people as far as Vim is concerned, you're going to obliterate people. So those are really strong niches for those characters. Whereas we also have like Varian and Michaela, who are more kind of jacks of all trades. Like, they have a lot of those things, but they don't excel at anything in particular. So they're more like, they're good in a lot of situations, but not like master of a very particular one. So what Gasty wanted to do with this character was bring them into one of those niches and kind of make him a more specific character. Yeah. And where he wanted to bring that was kind of the initiation and utility on a character. So he focused a lot on what this character could bring to a team fight on kind of a larger scale, starting a team fight particularly, and then additionally kind of some flexibility, utility that they can bring to the team fight. So very specific role that ended up being really, really cool.
Yeah. And his kit, obviously, we'll get into it in a little bit with the gameplay and stuff like that. But you mentioned something about a unique auto attack cadence that I feel like was very pivotal to his creation, to his kit, and it was one of the first things I'm pretty sure that Gasty kind of designed for the character, and then the kit became from that.
Right. So Gasty, he had this interesting thing where we have like tons of cheats in our game, and one of them is God mode, and one of the very specific cheats is God mode with your auto attacks off. So you have no auto attack cooldown, but every time that you right click an enemy, you'll fire a basic attack
with no like delay.
No delay whatsoever. And he kind of found this interesting cadence in there where he was like, This feels really cool. I'm not going to spoil what it does quite yet, but he's like, this feels really cool. How could I make this on a kit? This something that feels different from all other basic attacks in the entire game, and feels really neat. And this was the very, very start of the kit before anything else existed. Unique auto attack cadence was what he wanted, and it went through a bazillion revisions. There was points in time where people play it and they come over to Gasty afterwards. They're like,
that felt horrible.
It felt terrible.
Yeah,
it's one of those things that. For all of us being veterans of Dawn Gate and veterans of MOBA genre, if you mess with something as fundamental as basic attack cadence, you're like, just...
Oh, yeah,
if you don't do it perfectly, people are going to be like, this feels like shit.
And I will be the first to admit, I remember when, like, the first pass Boxman Kinsu came past, and he was like, I did something wacky with auto attack, and I played it, and I love 80 carries, I play 80 carries, I was like, what the hell are you doing? Like, I couldn't stutter step, I couldn't really put out the damage that I could on other carries because the auto attack was so different.
Right.
But I feel like, over many iterations and many moons, he nailed it, and I absolutely love, what Kensu is now.
So. Right. And it makes him like build differently and feel differently and play differently. So it's really, really cool. We'll get into it once we get there. One of the other things that Gasty wanted to do was have the character have high mobility, but make it more conditional. So a lot of our characters have high mobility, and I would say the majority of them are not conditional. So things like Varian's W, he can just like W.
You press it twice, boom.
Right. It's like very, very consistent. But we have to balance around that. Varian has very high mobility, but it's not very far. It's got a long cooldown, etc., etc. So Gasty wanted a more conditional mobility for this character. So he said, if I can get into a state where this character has high mobility, but I cannot use it nearly as often as another character, we can make it much, much stronger. So there was this this kind of conditional high mobility that you'll see once we get into it. It's really cool, really strong, but more difficult to use, more tricky to actually get off.
But so satisfying.
Right. When you do, the jukes are so real.
You feel like a god.
Oh, you feel like a god.
All right. I feel like we've teased enough.
Okay.
I feel like we can jump right into the game.
Okay, let's do it.
And show you guys.
So we don't want to show the Shaper Select, so we'll just
We're not. Don't worry. We can go to Big Cam. How about that? So we'll select Kinsu, Gladiator, whatever.
Others let their souls fade into darkness. We retain our strength.
He's got, Adam Harrington absolutely killed it. I went to his, do whatever. I went to his recording session in the studio and stuff, and he killed it. So thank you, Adam Harrington, so much for providing the voice of Kensu and Kagan way back when. But we'll get into the game in just a second. So what we're looking for here, just to preface the entire kit: utility, initiate, conditional mobility, strange auto attack cadence that works. It worked really well. Again, like I said, the first iteration of this auto attack cadence was very peculiar, and it was like I was playing something so weird that as an AD carry player, I was like, what is happening? I don't know what's going on. But obviously, like I said, after iterations and iterations and iterations, I think the whole cadence and the whole kit really came together, and I think Gassy nailed it.
Yep. I see Zaga say, Dibs, tell him the lore TLDR. Kensu is essentially a ghost hunter. Boom. He hunts
Ghostbuster.
He's a ghostbuster in his land. I think we'll kind of dive into this lore later with something, but they don't, people of Kensu's race doesn't quite die like other people. They kind of trap their souls rather than entering the spirit stream like everyone else in the Dawn Gate would. And sometimes those souls get free, and Kensu needs to go hunt them down with his...
Needs to go bust them.
He needs to go bust them.
Who are you going to call?
Okay,
Kensu.
So... Oh, we're in. Here we go.
Yeah, we're in.
Okay, so here he is.
This is Kinsu. This is his in-game model right here.
So there he is.
Beautiful. I believe Kevin was responsible for this model, correct?
Yes, he was.
Gorgeous. Just so many little things, so many bits and bobs, the arrows, and the animations, which you'll see, turned out beautifully.
Very, very, very cool. So I'm going to go ahead.
Level up.
Get that rare idol. So good.
He just plays a tune on his bow. Yep. Amazing.
Okay. So as always, I'm going to get about 100 power so you guys can see ratios if you're paying attention. Boop, boop. Oh, I chose power load up. Okay, that's close enough.
94. It works.
94. It works. I'm going to level up just his E and his R at the moment. Okay.
Let's do some let's do emotes and stuff.
Right. Let's do flirts and whatnot.
A ghost is here.
Okay. So always start with a flirt. That's the best.
Always.
I know your childhood dream.
That's great.
A taunt?
No claws, no fangs. Are you the get of herd beasts?
Oh,
that lore.
Joke.
Be wary. Ghosts often appear as glowing red dots.
Oh, the kitty cat laser joke.
Laser jokes.
So good.
And then the dance, which is the greatest thing.
All right, here we go.
I've been hunting you for months. Perfection.
So good.
If the chat doesn't blow up about that dance, I don't know what you guys want from us.
Shaper reveal
That's
over.
It. Bye.
I'll see ya.
Yeah, that dance is fantastic. And it's so fun. The noise of the sheep falling and hitting the ground. Caleb, Andrea, whoever did it, nailed it.
So
absolutely
good.
Nailed it. That's the greatest thing in the world. Okay. There you go. There's some emotes. Obviously, there's more stuff to find. There's banter between shapers, all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Oh, there's another rare idol. You got it again.
I know.
But let's talk about the kit. The kit's the best part.
Okay, so the kit is cool. So the most important part of the kit is the basic attack cadence, I think. So I'm going to go ahead and walk over here and find my friends. So Kensu's passive is that he is a pure shaper. So Kensu does not use any resource to cast his abilities, and his passive is quick release. So while Kensu is not auto-attacking, he charges up to 2 arrows, which he can release in rapid succession. So you see that I have 2 arrows charged in my bow. I also have the little buff down here.
It's also represented by your resource bar.
Right.
Just to let
it's
you guys
also
know.
represented by my resource bar. So when I do a basic attack here, I will release 2 arrows very quickly, and then I will slow down that cadence and just release every time my bar fills up to half. So if I stop firing here, you'll see that I charge 1 arrow, and then I charge 2 arrows. You can actually see those arrows on his bow charging up individually. So this completely changes the way that Kensu plays compared to every other shaper. If I'm going to, like, for instance, the most simple thing is, let's say I'm trading with another ranged carry. If we both right-click each other, and then we back away, I will get 2 shots off, and they will get 1 shot off. So his ability to trade with other ranged carries is brutal. It's super, super strong. Additionally, because I have less cooldown between my 2 shots, I can actually shoot 1 minion to last hit it, and then shoot another minion immediately to last hit it as well. So he is really, really flexible with the way that his basic attack works. Because of that, his basic attacks do slightly less damage than a ranged carry, but in a short trade, any other range carry, but in a short trade like that, because I fire 2, I'm going to do a lot more damage. But if we sit there and just like, you know, we just continue to fire at each other, eventually their damage would eclipse mine.
Yeah. And just to let you guys know, we do questions. We usually do Q&A towards the end of the reveal, so please hold on to your questions. And then at the end of the reveal, we will go ahead and answer all the questions you guys have.
So it's really, really nice to pay attention to this bar because you can fire right before it fills up, and you know that you're going to get your double shot. When you're max level, so I should also note that the arrows knock at the rate of your basic attack cooldown.
Yeah.
So at level 1, I would fire, and then it would take a little bit longer than you're seeing right here to me to level up because my attack speed has been increased. If I had a lot of haste, I would attack even faster. So you'll see that as he kind of levels up, that bar fills up faster, and you'll know when you can basic attack.
Yep. So what about the Q?
So the Q ability, I'm going to go ahead and level that up now. Boom. So immediately upon a level up, you'll see that my arrows start to glow red. So Kensu's Q ability is... Oh, Parasite.
Got him.
Kensu's Q ability is Haunt. He imbues his arrows with magical energies, causing them to do magical damage on hit. So you'll see here that I'm doing my physical damage as well as my magical damage over here with each hit.
Go ahead.
And then activating Haunt will switch to... I should mention those are the Ghosts of Malice. Activating Haunt will switch to the Ghosts of Despair, enchanting my arrows differently. While enchanted with Ghosts of Despair, my arrows will not deal bonus magical damage, but instead will slow all targets. You'll see here, each shot here is slowing Shy Guy. It additionally changes his stance, so you can kind of tell which form he's in, not only by the color, but also the way that he looks. So this gives Kensu a ton of flexibility in teamfights. Is he looking to do damage? He wants to be in the Ghost of Malice mode that's dealing extra damage against extra magical damage against all targets he hits. If he's looking to CC Shapers, whether they're coming at him or running away, he wants to be in the Ghost of Despair mode and be able to slow them with every shot. The slow lasts for 2 seconds, so if he is continually attacking them, it is a permanent slow. Unless they use a high mobility ability, he can continue to slow them as long as he can continue to shoot them.
The most high level thing that I love that I have been practicing, but I have not perfected, obviously, is since the slow lasts 2 seconds and it only takes a second to change stances, theoretically, every other auto can be a different type of arrow.
This is next level.
That's next level. It's true. But Gasty and Hunter, I believe, informed me of that. So you could frost auto, damage auto, frost auto, damage auto, frost, and then they would never lose the speed debuff. It's super hard to do, and I've been trying to do it in playtest. But if you can perfect that, it's just God Kinsu right there.
The slow does not stack. It is a flat slow per shot, so it does not get greater and greater. Once you hit it once, that's the maximum slow. So I'm going to go ahead and level up his W now. So Kensu's W is called Thrill of the Hunt and gives him another passive. So whenever Kensu attacks people with Thrill of the Hunt, it applies a stacking armor shred, which is represented by these 4 rings here. It stacks up to 4 times to a maximum amount, and then we'll just refresh each stack past that. As you saw, when Kensu's W reaches 4 stacks, it opens up a much larger ring, which Kensu can dash through. So this is kind of his unique high mobility mechanic.
That's the condition you have to meet right there. That's what Gassi was trying to go for. It's not Variance Progress Gate where you double-click W and boom, you're there. Right. You have to be auto-attacking. You have to consistently be attacking the same shaper. So like if you attack Reyna right now, she'll start stacking, but you can't go on her yet, pretty much.
So this ring represents the entire area which I can dash in. I have to be within this ring to dash, and I can dash anywhere else within the entire ring. If I step out, the ring will turn orange, and it represents that I cannot dash while this is going on. So I'll stack up to 4 here. You'll see on Moxie, I can now dash the entire distance of this ring. It's a really, really, really far dash, but it requires me to get a lot of shots off on the same target. The ring will not open up until the cooldown is off, so once my cooldown ends, the ring will open up, and I can dash.
And you can go anywhere in that circle.
Right, I can go in that circle. So I'm going edge to edge, but I totally could go side to side if I wanted.
And it goes over walls if they're close enough to it. You also have to remember with this ability, this is kind of what I found out, from playing a ton of Kinsu internally, is they are the epicenter of the ring. So like, it's very conditional in that you have to stack it up on a single target, and they have to be in the perfect position for you to use it. So it's not just a free gap close. It's not just like really a free. when you play it and you get in a team fight, it's very conditional, and when you use it well, this is what you were talking about before, like you feel like a god. You're just like, damn, I just dodged everything.
Right.
You know?
You can dodge a lot of stuff with this, but you're exactly right. If you're getting chased by a bruiser and you're trying to get away, it's actually really difficult to use.
Yeah.
If you know that you can get the kill, dashing past the enemy will allow you to potentially get the upper hand on them and get the kill. But it's very, very difficult if a bruiser's really, really bearing down on you.
Yeah, it's incredible. I love it.
So very, very powerful mobility, but relatively difficult to use. Additionally, like I said, the passive, the 4 rings there represent armor shred. So percentage armor shred on top of that. So Kensu is actually a very, very good character to have on a physical heavy team because he essentially is giving everyone that armor shred. Okay, so Kensu's E is kill shot. It is a long range skill shot that stops at the first target it hits. It deals physical damage based on how low the target is. So let's see if one of my friends is not in guy mode. Yeah. So if I use it on not Shy Guy here, 216 damage. You saw on the dibs over here, only 146. So this deals
kind of execute.
It's execute style damage. It'll do. It'll do more and more damage the lower someone is. So use this as a long range snipe to try to get a kill. It's very, very satisfying to get that kill.
Also 360 no scope.
Also, it is a 360 no scope for those of you. It's too good.
Getting kills with that is pretty much the most satisfying thing in the entire game.
Super awesome animation.
Does it go through minions, someone's ass? No.
It does not. So it will impact on the first target it hits. So if the enemy is kind of behind the minion line, they will be safe from it. It should also be noted that the execute damage maxes out at 25%. Once they're 25% or lower, that's the maximum amount of damage you're going to be getting. So you don't need to wait until they're like, got that 100 HP, right?
Yeah.
Kill shot also changes depending on which stance he's in with his Q. So if I'm in the Ghost of Despair stance, instead of doing execute style damage, kill shot will spawn projectiles based on the number of targets nearby and based on the rank of the ability that deals physical damage and slows all targets based on your Q's rank. So your Q has the Ghost of Despair mode, which applies this slow to all targets it hits. That slow percentage trickles down to your E. So the more you level up your E, the more you level up your Q, the more your E is going to slow. Additionally, the number of targets that this hits scales with rank. So let me find.
Yeah, just go Spirit Wells.
So I can go here. This is max rank of the ability. I fire it. Up to 5 additional arrows, 6 arrows total, go and fire at nearby targets. This doesn't prioritize shapers. It just checks nearby enemies, gets the 5 closest, and then fires arrow at them in addition to the primary target hit. So this gives him some wave clear, but it also gives him some the ability to essentially slow an enemy team. But it should be noted that the slow is delayed. The slow doesn't happen when this initial arrow hits. It's when these secondary arrows hit. So if the enemy team is engaging on you super hardcore, it's a good ability to use it, but it is not going to save your bacon in that case, essentially. You can use it to chase very well, and when being engaged, it's a little bit less effective, although still very effective.
And before we move on to the ultimate, a lot of people always get confused when they see these kind of reveals. These abilities do have cooldowns, but we are using cheats right now to get so people are like, whoa, perma slow, just craziness.
Just do this, whatever, it doesn't matter.
No, it does have cooldowns, so beware. I don't know what the if you want to talk about the cooldowns of the abilities.
We'll have them up on the reveal later. I don't have any haste right now, so this is about a 7-second cooldown at max rank. Which is relatively long, but it's a really, really long range skill shot. It's 1250 base range, so it's probably the longest skill shot in the entire game.
Yeah. And let's move on to that ulti.
Okay, so the ulti. The ulti is extremely delightful. So I'm going to go ahead and go through this ulti in 2 parts. So Kensu's ulti is Void Breaker. Kensu fires a surge of phantom energy in target direction. Fearing the first target hit and leaving a trail that Kensu and his allies move faster on for the duration of the trail. So this is
single target AoE.
Single target shot. It only hits the first target. Does not deal AoE damage. Deals magical damage to the first, or physical damage to the first target hit, and then allows me and Zakent to move faster on this trail. So very, very powerful initiation. But that's not the only thing that it does.
But wait, there's more.
But wait, there's more. Right.
Get out of here!
Get out of here, mushroom
guy.
Additionally,
our footsteps.
I go here. Let's say that the enemy team is doing Parasite, and we need to get there as quickly as possible. Void Breaker cuts through all impassable terrain and allows my team, or the enemy team, to move through that terrain. So this is an incredibly, incredibly powerful ability. It can be used...
Just shut him down. So this is obviously one of those things that we said has been in development for a long time, and it is very It was very tricky to get right.
It was a very, very, very tricky ability to get right. But you can see here, anywhere that I go, let's see, like this. Oh, the enemy team's under their binding. Let me just cut a hole through the wall and just, just walk right through and come in and do that gang.
I think the best case I've seen it used is by the wall, by your guardian, like this wall right, go up, this one right here.
Right. It's just like
there was one time where you're just like, now we're inside of your base. What is up,
Super, super, super powerful ability. Very, 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 very cool. It's one of the most potent engage abilities in the entire game. Catching people off guard with this is just so easy, right? All of you stand behind a wall. You'll see this thing where it's like, you'll see like the on my way Kensu. Everyone stand here, and then boom, cut through the wall, come in, fear the first target that you hit. Everyone, bust through the wall, and then you just get the upper hand of the enemies.
Yeah.
So it should be noted that the cut through the wall exists for both enemies and friendlies. It's not just me that is allowed to move through the wall. Everyone can move through that wall. However, my team obviously is the only one that gets the fear, only one that gets the damage, and additionally the only one that gets the move speed. So if you react very quickly, you could kind of catch the kill parasite. You could catch the Kensu and his team off guard, but likely they're getting the drop on you.
Yeah.
So this is a really, really potent and really, really interesting ability, and this was kind of the reason why I remember when I said this originally with Viana, we had to push Kensu so far out because this was it just took many engineers to make.
Yeah.
Even we had to like get external help, being like, okay, how are we gonna do this? This is completely
nav
crazy.
mesh, please.
Nav mesh, please. How are we gonna route this?
And the obvious question that people are asking is, what happens if you're in it when the wall closes?
So if you're in it when the wall closes, it will shunt you out onto the nearest terrain to you. So it'll close. And
we're on two different sides.
We will get pushed to two different sides. All abilities can be cast on that, like it's normal terrain. People can see through it like Fog of War. It essentially acts like there's a path there for the duration of the ultimate. So this is the gold of Kensu. It's really, really cool, really unique. Allows you to do a lot of different things. A lot of teams who don't have a lot of high mobility characters, like you're running the characters who have more damage but don't have those things like high mobility, this can make up for that. Let you get a jump on a team that potentially does and just obliterate them in a fight. It's one of my, I think, favorite abilities in the entire game.
And not to mention, it looks incredible. I remember the funniest thing about like internal playtests, like when Savage was in very early states, was you couldn't tell like where the path was and stuff. So you would be like, team, come on! You would shoot an ulti, and they'd be like, I didn't know there was a path there. What's happening? And then people get confused and stuff. But now, like the animation looks incredible. You can clearly tell that there's just a path through that. So props to everyone that did anything with the Savage ulti, because it is incredible.
Super, super cool. I should also note one other thing about the ability is that the fear on the primary target scales with the distance that it travels. So if I'm right next to someone, or let's say they're engaging on me, and I fear them, it's a very short duration fear. If I am at max range, it is a much longer duration fear. So it is more and more potent if I use it at max range to engage.
So good.
So I think that's it for his ultimate. Very, very cool ability. I think one of the coolest in the entire game. It just does tons of neat stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of people in there are like, oh god, my brain, right? But yes, like, wait till you see kind of the way that it works in game. It's very cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And the use cases are fantastic. Again, it's one of those things that like it's really, really awesome to when your team is on the same page and you're like, charge over this wall and murder them. But then sometimes in a solo queue environment where it's like, oh, they don't know what they're doing, and you charge over and you're the only one there, and you're like, damn.
Luckily, the ability is still very useful, even that like low coordination, like
it's a long-range fear.
It's a long-range fear with engage. It's got a path that all your bruisers can run on. Super, super good. But in the like 5 people on Skype, 5 people on Vent.
I am stoked for competitive Kinsu.
Yeah, right. It's going to be super good. So I think that is it for the
kit, of course.
For the entire Kensu kit.
But obviously, there's a little bit more to talk about, being spellbook, spells, items, stuff like that.
We also need to remember to save a little time at the end here, because we also need to reveal the Kindra Ultimate rework. So
we'll get there. We'll get there.
We'll get there. I don't want to forget.
I wouldn't let you forget. Trust me. I'm
you.
pretty sure Jesus wouldn't let you forget either, because
that's true.
He loves Kindra.
Right. Okay. So what else do we have to talk about?
Items.
So let's talk about items. So the item starting for Kensu is a little bit different than I think most range carries. You can see here. We like to start hunger on Kensu. It's it's kind of a power hunger thing depending for most range carries, but I like to start hunger, give him a little bit more safety, give him a little bit of healing in lane. So instead of destruction as kind of the core item for his damage, I actually like to build Judgment because of his basic attack cadence. So allowing him to stack immediately 2 stacks of Judgment, he's already halfway there, and overall it's really, really good. Additionally, you know, having his Armor Shred on his W, in addition to Armor Shred and Magic Resist Shred from his Judgment, lets him be a really, really nice utility character for the entire team. Remember that since he uses his Q, it will, since it deals magical damage when he's in Ghost of Malice form, it will stack up Judgment, both Armor and Magic Resist Shred. So if he has his W up and his Q and he has Judgment, he's shredding a ton, up to about 40% of the entire team's Armor, Magic Resist.
Armor and Magic Resist, and that is not just a him bonus.
Right, that's a bonus for everybody.
For everyone. You obliterate the enemy team's armor. And Magic Resist.
Right, so a little bit less damage than buying a Destruction outright, but once you get it all stacked up, which he really wants to do and can do because of his basic attack cadence, it's just super, super strong. So I really, really like Judgment as a pickup on him. Finesse is very good as well. As you can imagine, his basic attack style, he wants to get a lot of kind of on-hit effects. Finesse is a very good one. Additionally, although this doesn't shred for his entire team, this is bonus damage dealt for him. So very, very powerful. Same thing. If he can get a lot of shots on someone, he's going to just be dealing so much damage to everybody. Veracity also good as well. Anything that stacks up basic attacks is very good. So giving him that extra power, extra life drain, he can stack that slightly faster than a normal range carry could, especially in the beginning of a fight. So a really, really good life drain option for him. Resonance, also good. Most people know that Resonance is a very, very powerful on-hit effect for basics.
Yes.
Exact same thing applies. He really wants to get those on-hits for basics, so this is a good option for him. Additionally, gives him even more magical damage. It's one of those things that I think a lot of people are noticing right now with items like Betrayal and characters like Vex. Being able to split your damage between physical and magical on your range carry is just great. Yeah. It's just incredible. Rage, always a good offensive option. If the enemy is building armor or magic resist, good for him. So defensive items, same thing. Betrayal. If you're running into a magic damage heavy team, getting that magic resist is nice, but also that on-hit effect is brutal. It does tons and tons of magical damage. On top of your Q's magical damage is just great. And then Preservation is kind of the standard armor pickup for damaging characters. Gives you the extra damage, but also makes you able to survive that burst, particularly against basic attacks.
And Amulet of Armor, obviously really powerful if you're able to stay safe, which you should hopefully be doing as a range carry. And then spells. What are the spells?
We can't show this, yeah. Okay, so spells for him, I think, is kind of depending on your flavor of range carry. I know a lot of people take Blink as their safety net, but a lot of people also like Dispel or Blitz, depending on the situation, as well as Bastion. Other than that, I think that there's other things that could be used situationally, but depending on... I always kind of leave this up to the player. What do you feel most comfortable using? But additionally, who are you laning against? Might inform something like a Dispel or a Blitz.
Do you have
any personal thoughts here?
I'm kind of a Drain fan myself.
Drain is always good, yeah.
There's been multiple times where I've drained someone and they've been super low and I've executed them with my damage E and I'm like, 360 no scope, a swagger, you know, like I feel like a boss. But as far as, you know, range carries are concerned, I'm more partial to like the level 23 three spells being Dispel, Blitz, and Blink, you know.
Yeah, right.
And there's been also times where I've been able to like blink over a wall and they've blinked after me and then I W back over the wall and I'm like, see ya, you know, and I just walk away.
Good jukes.
Because there's so much mobility, but like we said, you know, the purpose of the W mobility is very conditional.
Right.
Stacking it up is tough to do sometimes, but when you do it and you use it to full effect, you feel like a god. You feel amazing. Like going over a wall or what I love is if you're chasing someone and you're slowing them with your Q and you're at kind of the max range behind them with your W, right before they die, Wing max distance to get to the rest of their team and then doing like a 360 no scope backwards just to finish them off and then start pursuing the rest of their team is such a good feeling.
That's super awesome.
I love Kinsu.
Yep. A lot of people I can already see it here saying Furor is a good pickup. Absolutely. If you're with a support, if you're with a tank, and they're like, what should I get? Furor is great. I mean, it's just fantastic. With all those things that he buys, synergizes super well. With his Q, synergizes super well. Okay, so we did spells, we did items. So I guess playing against Kensu.
I would say, just from my personal experience, if you're playing against a Kinsu, stay near your creeps. Again, his E does not go through minions, so it's unlike Mikella or Varian or something like that. So if you do play close to your creeps, hopefully they can't poke you from afar and whittle you down over time with their damage E. Be very wary of their of their slow and their kite potential. When you nice, can't let that happen.
Don't let the game end.
The ultimate again, since it is it fears based on the distance traveled. That point blank fear isn't going to do a whole lot for you. So sometimes it actually might be better to W to a further distance if you get that conditional W, just to get the longer fear off, because the maximum distance W from the epicenter of your ring is still in your basic attack range, if that makes sense. So like if you have the W on them and you can dash before you ulti, you may as well, because you're going to get a longer fear, and they're going to get locked down more, and you can murder them more, hopefully.
Ghost is here.
Actually, this is a curious question, and I think this differs depending on who plays them. What do you like to max?
I personally max Q.
I max Q as well.
The E damage is good, you know, and as far as an execute is concerned, it's great. But the double auto attack trade cadence against enemy carries. If I'm just in my, I think it's Malice is the damage form. I've been calling it red and blue for so long.
Malice and Despair.
Yeah, Malice and Despair. It's just that much higher, because already 2 basic autos, you know, trading them.
Right. Even the physical damage alone eclipses there.
Yeah, exactly. So if you have an ability like your Malice arrows that deals even more magical damage, your trade is that much more effective, and then you can just win lane and snowball.
I completely agree. I really like to do the Q as well. Additionally, while the E is nice, it gets lower cooldowns, the slow ranks up the Q. Remember that the slow is based off the Q. So getting your Q will also inadvertently level up at least the despair portion of your E as well.
Yeah. There's been many times in a team fight where I will be using my despair arrows, my despair Q, to kite and, you know, be slippery and get around team fights, and then immediately switch to my Malice Q, my red Q, my damage Q, to execute with my E. I find myself using the execute E far more, like in a team fight is concerned. If we don't need the despair E to kite or you know, catch them or stop their pursuit or anything like that. But super fun. Like when you get the hang of Kinsu, I promise you're gonna have a blast.
Yeah, he is super fun. I got to keep killing these minions so they don't win the game. Sorry, guys.
It's okay.
Okay, but I think I should be spawning Striders now, so it should push the other way.
Perfect.
So I think we should probably hop over to Q&A so we have enough time for everything.
Yeah, we'll do probably about 10 minutes of Q&A, and then the last 5 minutes of the stream we will show you guys that sweet Kindra Ulti rework as well, because I know you guys are excited about it. So do a Q with a colon followed by your question, and then we will answer to the best of our abilities. Can his dash be interrupted, says Mr. Failure?
It can, but good luck. It's really fast. He is not untargetable, nor is he immovable like a Kel ultimate or a Moya dash, or Moya ultimate, sorry.
Yeah.
But he moves really fast. It's a really fast ulti, so good luck doing that.
Dr. Gajovich, can his W stack on 2 people at once, so you have 2 circles up? Yes.
I think that yes, it can.
It can.
Yeah.
And then if you attack divs here.
Oh yeah, do both.
Yeah. Might as well. And then him. It's like a Venn diagram of mobility.
Right.
It's perfect.
Yep. That's a little God mode up basic attack in there.
Let's see. Can his W stack on 2 people at once? We answered that, Dr. Gajovich. Thank you so much. Does his W stack on jungle creeps?
It does not. So or I should say, sorry, the passive does. So the Armor Shred does, but you cannot dash unless you hit a Shaper. I should have mentioned that. The only time that larger ring will appear and you can use your W is when you hit a Shaper 4 times.
It would be really great to see if it did, if your mobility could be on jungle creeps, to like ward over a wall and auto attack a jungle creep a few times and bounce over. That would be so cool. But you cannot. It is the dash part of it is Shaper only. The Armor Shred and Magic Resist Shred is everyone.
Is his E cooldown shared, or is it not shared? So Ferris, when he uses his W, it puts both on cooldown. When Ashabel uses her E, it does not. So his does put both on cooldown. If I'm not in God mode, which, sorry, I am, and I switch over to my Q, it will have the same cooldown. So I can only use one. I can't switch between the 2 and fire them both very quickly.
That would be tons of damage, and it would be amazing.
Right.
How will his skills synergize with Fate? Are his attacks and skills primary only? Great question, Tyrese Steve.
So it does hit multiple targets, so Fate is a good pickup for him if you can afford the kind of the cost that comes with Fate of only getting a haste item with extra damage. So I really like Fate on him. We didn't put it as a core item on him because it's more tricky to use. I think that's more of a trap. But if you're going heavy on hit and you have an extra item slot and you're doing well, get Fate because you'll wreck people.
Yeah. Morat's asking, can his R cut through Bindings and Guardians?
It cannot. So Bindings and Guardians kind of ignore this interaction. You cannot walk through the Guardian. That would cause some issues.
Let's see, what else? Any other questions? How does Mastery affect supports abilities like Zeri Science? It's kind of a unrelated Kinsu question, I guess.
It does not.
It does not.
Mastery doesn't work on those things.
Blue Muzzy's asking if his ulti is a real-time Boolean, is it actually altering the geometry regardless of resolution / topology?
What? Who asked what?
That's Muzzy.
Oh, real-time.
Asking the high level.
So it is actually, if we're going to go through it, it is actually cutting out a section of nav mesh every single frame that it goes along, and then when it hits someone, it essentially stops doing that. It says, okay, stop cutting nav mesh. So it's actually rebuilding the entire nav mesh each frame. It's expensive and it's delightful, but our engineers are gods, and you know they made it work.
The other thing I would like to note about it is, since it does hit the first target struck, the path is the distance it travels, right? So that's a tiny little path right there. That's nothing.
So if you shoot it over a wall, it will not give you the full length of the path. It'll only give you just over the wall, if assuming that it hits a target right on the other side of the wall.
Is there any other questions? Can you dash through overlapping W circles? Yes, you can. As long as you're in the range of the circle, like if you auto attack someone.
So you cannot dash between two circles. So if you have a circle, and
I see what you're saying.
You cannot do that.
Yeah.
But if you're within a circle, essentially we'll choose the circle that you're within to dash appropriately.
And you'll see the color of the circle will change whether you're inside of it or not.
Right.
So if he attacks Dibs a few times, he can dash anywhere in that circle right now when it's blue.
Yep.
Can you go through 2 walls with Ulti? You can go through any wall that covers the distance of your
Makes the distance. Yep. So it will refresh. It will go through both these walls. Yep. Hello, blue buff.
I am here now.
Goodbye.
Might get kicked out. Oh, he's gonna make it.
Wow, what a god!
Wow, what a beast. But yeah, obviously, like you just saw, the ultimate does not hit the fear portion. Does not hit creeps.
Yep.
It can only hit shapers.
Only hit shapers, which makes it nice for cutting through situations like that, so you don't get blocked by like a mushroom nub or something like that, which would be super sad.
Someone's asking about his scaling. What are his ratios like?
So his ratios are actually pretty low on the magic damage. It's a 0.1 ratio on the magic on hit from his Q. That's pretty low. However, it's a basic attack cadence and it's magic damage, so that's very, very nice.
A Parasite's having a set.
Yeah, he's having a set. So his ratio changes depending on the execution, you know, how low health they are when executing them. The minimum damage for his E is 0.4 ratio. The maximum damage is 0.1 for the Ghost of Malice E. While the
1.0.
1.0, sorry.
Yeah.
What, did I say
0.1 is a little different.
Terrible. Sorry. 1.0. 1.0. And
it goes from a 0.3 ratio to a 0.1.
In the Ghost of Despair mode, it's only 0.3. Ghost of Despair mode, significantly less damage than the Ghost of Malice mode. The scaling for his ultimate is 0.6, which is decent. It's got pretty good base damage, but additionally it has the very hard single target CC.
Mianhe asking, does your Q stance change proc Conquest?
No, it does not. Just like all other utility abilities in the game, like Ferris changing stances or Zeri using her butterfly, does not proc on ability used.
Yes.
Justice is on ability use, though, right?
Oh, Justice. No. Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. I was saying Judgment for some reason. I confused.
Yeah. It will proc Judgment. It will not proc Justice.
No. Again, it's one of those, like, it's a 1 second ability. Right. That would be a little absurd.
Yeah, and also, it sometimes pops things when you don't want them. Like, when you open up Urena Shield, you don't necessarily want it to pop everything that you have.
A few people are asking if you can walk outside of the map.
You absolutely can.
Kind of a waste of an ulti.
So this is the best place to do it. You go like this, and then you walk way outside the map, cuts a gigantic hole in the map mesh, and then you look right here.
And you're just going to pop back out.
And then you get a kitty treat. Hello.
Coming out of the cave. The first use of the cave.
Right.
So obviously, yes, you can walk out of the map, but you're also putting it on a very long cooldown, and it's not worth it.
Don't do that. But we actually said to ourselves, should we prevent this? And in cases like this, where this technically is outside the map, and we want people to, oh, sorry, that wrong ability. We want people to do this. We said, oh, okay, we'll let people walk it outside the map, and we'll just say, please don't do that.
Yeah, I remember the...
you know, your team's going to be mad at you if you use your 130-second cooldown to use...
Yeah,
you know.
and it's absolutely fantastic to group up, like we said, hide behind a wall, wait there, and then all of a sudden... Like, I remember up here... Go up.
Sorry, what?
Up here, I remember one playtest.
Right.
You guys sat right here, like Hunter was playing Kinsu, and someone walked to the binding to defend it, and all of a sudden, 5-man destruction just rained down upon us. It was brutal.
It was brutal.
But yeah, plays like that, I'm so excited to see within competitive play, within solo queue, everywhere. Just look how gorgeous it is.
I know, it's so cool. Like the cutting, this stuff here, DLS.
What a god.
What a god.
God, DLS, you're so good.
DLS had to go like into a cone of silence. He was like, I'm working from home. I'm gonna do this magic path, and he did it, and it's awesome. I love it.
Does the passive sphere burn from decay work with the Q skill since it's dealing magic damage?
No, it does not, because that is a. It's not considered an ability. It's a basic attack. So things like that, as well as Ferris's Q, any additional kind of like
on hit magic damage.
Yeah, on hit magic damage does not proc that.
Yeah. Can the 2 arrows hit different targets? Kind of, because you're only firing one at a time, so you can click.
I can do that. Yeah. I can click and click. So especially if you're last hitting a creep, you'll see that you only fire one, and then you can fire another one to last hit very quickly. It takes a little bit of getting used to, but it feels really natural. It feels really good.
Yeah, it's a case of like, it's not that your 2 arrows fire at the exact same time. It's that they are stored up to be fired quicker than a normal auto.
Right. You will fire them, but there is kind of they don't fire at the exact same time. They are 1, 2. 1, 1, 1, 1. So it kind of gets in that additional burst, but doesn't just fire instantly 2 arrows.
Can a ward be placed in the cut path? It's interesting. I'm assuming you would get knocked out if whenever.
We did have that bug. Let's use it.
Let's see.
Put it up. Put it there.
Lost in the blue goo.
Lauren, please.
She did it.
What a god.
Oh, Lauren had to. The greatest. I walked over. I've been walking over to Lauren's desk for like weeks, and she has been like meticulously making sure that the nav mesh is absolutely perfect when it gets cut.
Like,
oh god,
the amount of work that went into this ultimate cannot be understated. There were so many things. It's like, well, if you do this, this, and this, and this with the ultimate, then what happens?
Explodes.
Right. But Lauren is awesome, and the rest of the engineering, everyone who worked on this engineering team, very, very good.
If you see any of them in game, give them massive props and say Kinsu is incredible, and that ulti is the technology behind it is absolutely absurd.
Yep.
So let's see. Can you use a ward and ulti out of the map? Well, we just kind of tried that. It will get knocked out. The ward will get knocked out whenever the ulti is done.
Slid to the closest.
Is there any scaling on the shred? I don't believe so. It's a flat number.
It is. It's a flat number, so it scales with rank, but it does not scale with power.
There you go. Can you use your W on creeps? No, you cannot.
Yeah, it will shred the armor, but it will not give you the ring 4 stacks there. No. Just only shredding armor.
There you go. He can be jungled. I've jungled with him before. I jungled with him in a play test one time, and it was an absolute blast.
Yep.
No art stream today. We are actually going to have the art stream in 5 minutes. Luke Harrington, our art director, is going to be over here. But before we do that, we would also like to reveal the Kindra Ultimate rework that we teased a few weeks ago.
So it
is finally coming to life.
I'm going to cheat. They won't see the cheat screen, will they?
Nope.
Okay, good. All right, guys, I'm going to cheat. It's cheat time. Look, now I'm Kindra.
Whoa!
Kensu's other ultimate.
Yeah. Goes to another Ghastly character.
Become another random Ghastly character.
Which is Kindra.
Right.
And then stomp the game.
So, Kindra had problems.
Kindra had issues.
Some people know about this. So I guess you wanted to kind of talk about what the issues were with Kindra and what we decided to do against them. So the primary issue, and this is all about her ultimate. This is what we wanted to rework. The primary issue with Kindra's ultimate is that there is 0 counterplay. You use the ultimate, you become untargetable, and you take, 600, 800 damage depending on how fed the Kindra is. There's no way to do anything about that other than die. So it's something that we wanted to rework completely. We wanted to kind of take that damage and kind of spread it out over time. And we also wanted to allow for that counterplay, but still give Kindra some of the things that she needs. She needs a little bit of mobility. She needs the damage. She also needs some way to defend herself so she doesn't just get obliterated. Other assassins, or the other assassin, Ferris, in this case, he can E in, do his combo, and then E out. That's kind of his ability to protect himself. But Kindra needed something a little bit more. So the way that Kindra's ultimate works now, it is a triple reactivatable dash. It does magic damage in an area, and then grants Kindra damage reduction based on the number of targets that she hits. So you see here, let me use the ultimate again. So I had gotten
yeah. There you go.
So I will use my R to dash here. Oh, that's my E. Use my R to dash here. Do damage to both the targets. Dash again. Dash again. Now it's on cooldown. There is a cooldown between each dash, so she cannot go dash, dash, dash. She has to dash. She has the short cooldown. You'll see here again. We'll watch my cooldown bar. It's about a 1 second reactivation between each cast. Gives her the mobility and gives her some of that additional damage reduction that she needs based on targets hit. But she can, if you dash in like that and you just stun her and then you just kill her, Unlike before, where suddenly there's a Kindra, no one knows where she's going to pop out and all these things. It's still very powerful, but it makes it much more counterable and much more kind of easy to see what's kind of going on.
She is now targetable, which is the biggest change.
Is now targetable.
Yeah.
So I think that is it for that. So it does damage. So to recap, magical damage in area after dashing, and then gives her 10% damage reduction, flat damage reduction, per Shaper hit. So if I'm in a duel, I'm only going to get 10% damage reduction. That's not super significant. If I go crazy and dash in on 5 people, 50% damage reduction is very, 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 very powerful, and will allow Kindra potentially to survive that fight.
People asking, can you use it on creeps? I don't believe so.
You cannot. So this is
Shaper
a Shaper targeted only. Of course, she still has her E, which she can use on creeps.
So there you go. There is the Kindra Ulti Rework. We'll show that tooltip, let you read it a little bit.
Yep.
So again, it can be cast again within 5 seconds of the previous cast, up to a total of 3 times. So you're not storing charges. It goes on cooldown once those 3 casts are used. A 78-second at rank 3 with no haste and stuff like that. So
she can't disengage to an ally Shaper or a minion. She can only use this against enemy Shaper, so she has to be aggressive with it. Someone said, "What? This seems like a big Kindra nerf." Kindra is very strong right now. Our telemetry says that she's strong. So this is meant to be... It's an adjustment to her gameplay. And Gassy specifically said he wanted this to feel like a nerf at kind of lower skill. He said that, before Kindra's ulti was fire and forget. Now, if you fire and forget this and you think that you're going to be safe, you're going to die. So it's kind of a nerf for lower skill players, and it's almost a buff for higher skill players. So if higher skill players can get this just right, it's going to be a very powerful ability, but they need to know exactly how to use it and when to use it, which is something that I think Kindra was kind of lacking with her ultimate before and her resetting nature. You could kind of just, but now you need to kind of think about where you're going. Do you want to weave an E in between your R's? Do you want to weave a Q or a W in?
Okay, so the TLDR before we round out the stream. Kinsu reveal, awesome.
Yes.
Kinsu is fantastic. We like Kinsu. The Meet the Shaper will be posted very, very shortly, and you'll see his information and scaling and tooltips and numbers on sites like mobile-champion.com and theshapersguild.com very, very shortly, if not already. Kindra Ulti Rework, it is a multicast. It can be cast up to 3 times within 5 seconds of each other. It's a dash, it's an AoE damage, and it's a damage reduction for her per Shaper hit. It cannot be used on allies, it cannot be used on creeps, and it can only be used on enemy Shapers.
Yep.
TLDR of the community catch-up you guys just heard, that is it. We're going to go to a sizzle real quick, and we'll be back in just a few minutes with Luke Harrington, our art director, to give us the art live stream from about 12 till whenever he wants to stop, really. So don't go anywhere, guys. We hope you enjoyed Kinsu. We hope you're excited for him. You're excited for the Kindra Ulti rework. But stick around. We've got some great art coming up, and we hope you guys enjoy it, and hope you guys stick around. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/thedawngate, and facebook.com/